Hey, everybody, and welcome to the weekly coaching recap. It is March 25th, and earlier today, I led a 90-minute mentorship session with a small group of coaches in Misfit to Maverick. That is your opportunity to get one-on-one support in a small group setting. And when we do these calls, we collect big insights on a Google Jamboard. So everyone is filling out little digital Post-its, capturing their biggest insights and takeaways. And I love doing these little 10-minute recaps to bring you the highlights of those calls with hopes that they help you on your coaching journey. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the first questions on the call was from a coach who is really trying to get comfortable sharing her work. So I think there's a difference between extracting an idea. So let's say there's something you want to say, there's an opinion you have, there's a lesson you want to teach, right? So there's extracting it, getting it out of your head and into, let's say, something you write or create or a post or something. And then there's publishing it. So notice the difference there. I think we oftentimes like beeline straight to publish, and that totally kind of jams us up. If extracting it is your practice for now, that's great. Just practice extracting it for you. Then when you're ready, practice sharing. So she's in this place where she's like, I've got stuff to say, but when she shows up on video to express these ideas, she just finds that something switches. She feels like she's not showing up as herself. There's an energy there that just isn't how she wants to be presenting. So my suggestion to her kind of took a couple of forms. One, if this is relatable to you, remember that when we start everything, it's awkward. If I told you today to go learn how to play a new sport you've never played or an instrument you've never played, those first practices, tens of practices, likely hundreds of practice sessions are going to feel a little bit awkward and strange, and you're not going to know how to do it. You hear this from creators all the time. If you go back and look at their earliest creations, their very first podcast or YouTube video or essay or whatever it is that they put out there, it is markedly different from how they are showing up today because they've been practicing. So part of this is just getting really uncomfortable or really comfortable with the discomfort of practicing something new, being willing to do it not so great, being willing to do it even if you're not a master of it yet, because that's how everybody begins. So that was kind of the first piece. But the second exercise we did was actually one of my favorites that I haven't used in a while, but I really enjoy bringing in the elements, right? The elements of meaning fire, water, air, and earth into kind of what it is that we're creating. And I actually invited this coach to role play. You know, she picked a phrase, let's say, that she wants to say. And I said, all right, say that phrase, but do it in a very airy way, right? Air is very like, oh my gosh, like we're out here, it's up in the sky, right? It's just got this outward energy to it. So she delivered it with more air. And then I said, all right, now deliver it with more water. Water is more emotional. It's still moving, but it's more in the body. It's about intuition and feeling. So she delivered it with more water. Then I invited her to deliver it with more fire, and fire is about energy and, you know, let's do it. There's a posture to fire, right? We're going to lean in. So she delivered it with more fire. And then we moved into earth. Earth for me is much more grounded. It's much more solid. It's much more like, I don't know, you like put your feet down. And so then she delivered it with more earth. And what was so cool about that is then I could circle back and say, you know, which do you want more of right now? Which do you feel you need to like turn up? Which one do you need to turn down? And just a lot of insights came out of that. So when I look at the Jamboard, I see a lot of use the elements to play before going on camera, right? Try all that energy on for size before you create a video or send a note to somebody. Was there another one? Turn up the knobs on certain things, turn down the knobs on others. And then someone was noting too, that if you are a coach with a lot of thinking strengths, I don't know, I am a kind of self-study tarot reader. And in tarot, the suit related to thinking is the swords, right? Because swords cut through air, and it's all about like stuff happening up here. And so if you find that you're a super thinker, the element of earth might actually bring you back down into the space of action. So another coach on the call was saying like, I'm just thinking about all this stuff. I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. And so for her, the action that was going to kind of bring more earth down to it was scheduling some calls with some people, running a conversation project, because having those calls with people, it gets us out of our heads and back into the world of other people. And so consider that if you find that you're heavier in or more comfortable with one element, what it would look like to bring another one in. And that was just a super fun exercise that I invite you to practice for yourself and bring into your own coaching if you find it interesting and helpful. Here's another really cool conversation that emerged on the call today, and there were so many. So if you're in Misfit to Maverick, I invite you to watch the whole replay. It's under the past events. If you can check it out. If you're not in Misfit to Maverick, you are missing out. We do these calls every week, and you are invited to join the next one. You can learn more about it down below. But another question that came in the room is one of the coaches was really starting to wonder about what is the journey that she takes people on. She's like, what is the journey that I take people on? And what we did was tease apart all of the different modalities that you have. So remember, the tools that you bring into your coaching, your certifications, the methodologies that you use, the frameworks. This particular coach is trained and certified in lots of different stuff. All of those things are like sails on your boat. Okay, so you could design a coaching experience that focuses on each sail. So maybe you're like, all right, I want to do a week where I teach meditation, and then a week where we do some Reiki, and then a week of IFS, and then a week of kind of like nutritional awareness, right? Just pulling from all these things. That's awesome. I am a big fan of helping coaches create projects that are interesting, that you're really excited about. And in many cases, what we're most lit up by is our work. So feel free to create experiences that highlight and focus on the tools you bring into your work. That is different than the journey someone wants to go on your boat. The journey that someone wants to go on, and I credit to Tad Hargrave for teaching me this idea. It's like they are on island A and they want to get to island B. That's the journey they want to go on. A lot of times people don't really care how you get them there. They just want to know and trust that you can. So I think as coaches, we're oftentimes just like so into our boats, rightfully so, because they're awesome and our sales are all awesome, that we kind of forget that the person on island A is not really looking for a boat. They're looking for someone who can help them make this journey that they want to make to get to the thing that they want. And if you don't know what people want, go ask them. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm like, run a conversation project, find 5, 10 people who are dealing with something that you are inspired by, that you want to help people with, and talk to them. And I have I'm currently putting together a resource that will teach you everything that I know about conversation projects. If it's not linked below yet, it will be, because I just believe that conversation projects are one of the very first projects that you can take action on as a new coach. And even as a seasoned coach, it is always a project you can turn to when you're not quite sure where to begin, because your people will tell you everything you need to know, including what journey it is they want to go on. And magical stuff happens when you talk to people, because you find out that, again, they're not as fascinated by all the sails and the boats like we are in our coaching bubbles. They just want a problem solved. And so as much as possible, stay in their world and listen to what it is that they're asking for. So some of the post-its, what a client wants plus what you are good at is the magic sweet spot. All right. So I love to help you figure out what you're good at, what your strengths and your values and your personality and your quirks are. But then it's also about really trying to find where that matches and meshes with what the people want help with. What else here? Engage in client conversations and listen for what their struggle or bottom line struggle is. How do they define their current experience? This is great. The client gets to set the journey. Use past clients or conversation projects to explain the journey to new clients. All right. So a conversation project, part questions, part coaching. That's another thing too, that I just want to, the client gets to set the journey. It's not so much about the how, but communicating the end game in the client's language. That's one of the post-its up there. this last one too, before I end, I want to share one last thing. I love talking about projects. I love project-based learning. I love helping coaches come up with coaching projects and marketing projects. Here's the magic of a conversation project. A conversation project is both. It's kind of a coaching project masquerading as a marketing project, because while you are using it to connect with new people and to learn about them and to gather some information and data about what it is that people actually want, right, which is a really important part of creating our work, you're also giving someone 20, 30, 45 minutes to simply share their story and be heard in a neutral, judgment-free space, to be listened to. Do not underestimate the power of that role that you can play in your coaching partnership. So while you are learning and listening and getting to know the people that you want to help, you are also practicing some really essential coaching skills, and you are giving someone the gift of your time and attention, which I think is one of the greatest things we can do as coaches. So conversation projects are both coaching projects and marketing projects. I stand by them. And I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but I'm sure I'm near, if not out over the 10-minute mark. And I like to try and keep these brief. If you're in Misfits and Maverick, you can check out the Jamboard along with this post and post all of your questions and follow-ups in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you've heard something that's helpful. Share in the YouTube comments any insights or takeaways that you've got, any follow-up questions. I'm happy to pop back in and connect here. And thanks so much for being here. I'll see you again in the next weekly coaching recap. All right, talk soon.